One of the first things we need to do when we give students a written task is to get them to understand exactly what is being asked of them. To do this, we have a process called unpacking the question or unpacking the exam question. We'll use this on the exemplar that we looked at earlier. If we asked our students to highlight the important parts of this, most of them would probably highlight the whole question, which doesn't really help anybody. So, what we want to do is give them a process or a strategy to help. The first thing that we'd encourage them to do is to read the question carefully and determine what area of the syllabus it's from. Next, we ask them to highlight the instructional word or key descriptor or key verb or whatever you'd like to call it. So in this case, it's evaluate. Of course, we'd probably also get them to circle the word report in this question too, so they know that their answer should be in a particular report format. Following this, they need to underline the content words. And in this case, these are the main features, tourist destination, and GDP. This hopefully narrows their thinking in this particular area, and instead of them thinking about tourism in general, they start to get an idea of how to formulate their answer. Next, we want to see if the question limits us or points us in a particular direction. So we put a box around these things. We can see that this question wants a significant tourist destination, so we really have to talk about one that is of world value or world heritage. It also wants us to evaluate these main features and see how they influence the country's GDP. So this is another limiting factor. We can't talk about anything else, such as the sense of national pride from this particular tourist destination, or maybe how it is conserved for the future. The next step is to look for a bossy S. A bossy S lets us know if there's any part of the question that requires more than one thing. Looking at this question, we can see that it requires more than one feature, so we have to provide at least 2 features to get full marks. If we wrote pages and pages and pages on just one feature, then we might not get 15 out of 15. Finally, we should get the students to see how many marks it is worth. This should obviously guide their thinking on how much to write. If this was a hand-in task or a submitted assessment task, or perhaps even we're working on some past papers, it would also be worth going through the marking criteria with them to see how they could get 15 out of 15 or get an A answer, which is usually between 13 and 15 marks. If it was only worth 4 or 5 or 6 marks, we should still do the same process, go through unpacking the question, and again look at marking criteria with them.